Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't feel like moving Gavin to the back because him and I were picking on each other. So we are here for the next episode of Java Delight. Good morning, and thank you all for being a part of us and starting your day with a positive, uplifting, and encouraging message. Gavin Kerr, you are my wonderful, handsomely, good-looking, dashingly, always on the ball, never scared co-host. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Brandon?
I'm good. I have oatmeal in front of me. I'm happy.
Nice. I just woke up, so I didn't have time to get oatmeal, but I'll eat something after this.
I wake up early and then I forget to eat. So like I went downstairs, I grabbed a few things to like nibble on and just I needed to get something to like get in me this morning. Like my body was telling me it needed some fuel. You
See, I
know?
wake up early, and then I just think to myself, sleep.
Sleep. I love it. I love it. So how was your night last night, my friend?
And I was good. I went to the dentist yesterday after the show. I got some fillings done. They ripped a tooth out, so that was fun. And then I went to work, came home, and Crystal and I spent the evening together. We made dinner together, and then after that, we played our card game, took a shower, watched some Netflix, and went to bed. It was a nice evening.
That's awesome, buddy. That's a great
Yeah.
evening. That sounds like a wonderful time. Did you have any cavities?
I had a little bit of just like a very tiny bit of decay that they had to like scrape out before they put the fillings in.
Got
But for
it.
the most part, no, I keep pretty good care of my teeth now. When I was younger, I had awful dental hygiene, but now that I'm older, I try to be more responsible about it.
So question. Do you
Yeah,
floss? Do you floss?
yeah,
Okay. How
yeah.
often?
Every time I brush my teeth,
No
I
way.
yeah, yeah,
No way. Really? You must be
yeah.
the. I'm gonna ask every guest from now on if they floss, just to see if we can get some like statistics here of how many people actually. Suze is in the background for Suze the Creative Rebel. Suze, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up if you floss. Nope. See, I'm like once a week, maybe twice. She has a special guest today. Tino, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you floss every time you brush? Thank you. See, Gavin, you're just one in a million, man. You even floss every single. Do you do every tooth?
Yeah.
You're not
I
just like the front four.
what? No. You know
See,
those
Sherry
little like the
McQueen.
little handheld pieces? They're like little handheld pieces that have the floss there for you. It's not like the strip or anything, or it's not the string. It's just like a little plastic piece that has it there for you. And yeah, I brush my teeth, and then I don't rinse my mouth out after I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth, and then I just go through with the floss really quick, and then I use mouthwash.
So, guys, leave us a comment. Do you thumbs up floss every single time you brush your teeth, or do you thumbs down every time you really don't floss as well as you hope you want to? I know I floss down. I'm a thumbs down. I floss down. But no, last night, man, oh man, I got into some stuff. My family and I worked late, and then my mom and dad and I sat down to watch a movie, and it was quite an entertaining time because it wasn't like a movie that you'd watch as a thank you, Jessica Dugas. So far, we have a ton of thumbs downs, guys. Thank you so much
That's
for being
okay.
a Gavin, you're just one in a million, I tell you. But the thing
I
is,
guess.
you're like, I guess I am. But
Yeah.
my thing is, I went. What's the longest you've gone without going to the dentist? Let me rephrase that.
Oh, years. Like that.
Years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I went to the dentist for the first time in probably 3 years. I want to say like a month ago.
Have you ever had a cavity?
Yeah, yeah. No, when I was little, I had horrific dental hygiene, and
Really?
I had so many cavities. I used to like rip my teeth out constantly because like one, I was losing my baby teeth, so when one was coming out, they all just started coming out. But then two, I had really, really bad cavities, and some of them just had to get pulled out, like my molars and
Really?
whatnot. Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
really
I
bad cavities.
I graduated high school, went away to college, and then didn't see a dentist for 14 years.
Yeah.
And then when I did go, they were like, "Oh, you have a cavity here, you have a cavity here. Oh, we're gonna pull this tooth. Your wisdom teeth need pulled." It was a very long, painful process. Good morning, Jacqueline Rodriguez. We're so glad to see you here this morning.
Yeah, I got
So,
my baby canine pulled, and then I have one more baby canine I need pulled out, and then I have 3 wisdom teeth.
and last night you did I want to say Olive Garden and Trivia's tonight.
Yes, yeah, trivia's tonight.
And last night, what was not, you didn't work at all.
Last night was Olive Garden, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you were going to come in today and trivia me, but I'm going to read my article first.
Okay.
And then you can like F with me. All right. So let's see how smart Brandon is. I might just see, since Sue's disappeared, if Tino wants to play me at a game of trivia. So adding to the stream right now. Oh, he says yes. I love it. Guys, check this out. So there's new brain cancer immunotherapy shows a promise in human trial. Most patients saw no tumor growth for 3 years. A landmark human trial testing a vaccine that's designed to help the immune system target brain tumors has shown promising results, as phase 2 of the trial is now being planned. According to a Nature article published by the researchers leading the trial, the vaccine was safe for all patients and showed the hoped for an immune response to cancerous tissues. That sentence just did not flow for me. It diffuses are normally incurable brain tumors that spread into the brain and are difficult to remove completely by surgery. Chemotherapy, radiology often only have limited effects. In many cases, the diffuse glioblastoma share a common feature. Hey, make it sound good. In more than 70% of patients, the tumor cells have the same gene mutation. An identical error in their DNA causes a single specific protein block that in exchange for the IDH1, I don't know what that is, but that's why I'm not a doctor. This creates a novel protein structure known as neoepitope, which can be recognized by as a foreign by the patient's immune system. Our idea was to support the patient's immune system, to use the vaccine as a targeted way of alerting it to the tumor-specific neoepitope. I'm guessing that's the spot where the tumor is, explained the study director, Michael Pelton. This is it's from a German cancer research center. The IDH1 mutation is particularly suitable for candidates here, as it is highly specific to the gliomas. Yep, gliomas. And does not occur. Gliomas. Moreover, the IDH1 mutation is responsible for the development of these gliomas, and that means the vaccine against the mutated protein allows us to tackle the problem at the root. They're having promising clinical results since 2019. There's been a total of 33 patients coming out of this that have done it, and with a physician's rate in 93% of patients, the immune system showed specific response to the vaccine and then petidide, and did so regardless of the patient's genetic background, which determines the immune system's important presentation molecules of the HLA proteins. So personally, I think this is really stinking cool that they can have, they're able to track your cancer, your brain cancer inside your immune system. Like, think of that for a second. Like, your food that you're eating, the stuff that you're putting into you to make you, they're able to tell if it's throwing off your brain and what it's getting in there, and what if there's a chemical not there. That's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like,
it's amazing.
It makes you realize like how important your diet really is for what you're doing. You know? Yeah.
No, I think the one thing that it made me really think of is I wonder if it's a similar science to if you do like a hair follicle test.
What do you mean?
So like if you do like a hair follicle test for like a drug test, your hair is basically a timeline of everything that you've put into your body. So like all the food, any kind of extra like vitamins, any sort of like drug that you've done, you can see that in your hair. Like you can read it genetically. So
Yep.
I wonder if that's the similar way of how they've gone about doing this.
So I'm wondering because you know they could like test your drugs and all that, like if you've done
Yeah.
drugs through your hair and all that in your blood. I'm wondering if they can create a system like that. Imagine if you could like go to the bathroom, like you know they
Yeah.
do a drug test and you just pee and you know whether you have a sickness or not. That
Yeah.
would be interesting to me. You just go to the facility and, yup. I don't know.
It'd be
Maybe
amazing, yeah. If they did that, they could like categorize them. So it could be like different kinds of fevers and colds. There could be like one pee test that's like STDs. There could be another one that's like cancers and terminal illness. Like that'd be crazy.
I love how you're like you take one and you can see if you have an STD or not. I think that's phenomenal.
I feel like that would be the most popular selling one. In all honesty,
I do too.
if
really
you
do.
had a pee test that told you if you had like gonorrhea or chlamydia, oh my god, everybody would be buying that. Like,
I mean, you can go take a drug test from CVS. Like literally go in, buy a cocaine test, and you'll know whether you tested positive for crack, heroin, cocaine, any of that. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, if you have to go take that test, that probably means you did it.
well, that's for like other people. Like my mother used to drug test me when I was in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Me and my little brother both, because both of we have addiction in both sides of my family, and she has family members who suffered and actually passed away from it. So she was like always like really like worried and freaked out about me and my little brother. So she would buy us she would buy drug tests for us to do randomly. Rarely will we ever use them or anything, but it was just once in a blue moon. She'd be like, "Hey, go pee, go do this." And
did you randomly ever test positive? I just have to ask.
No, because I never smoked pot in high school.
I just was pot. I was like thinking you were doing heavier things. I was like, damn, your mom was worried about you.
Yeah, no, no, just like anything. She wanted us to be peeing clean for anything that came up. But then, so I never partook in any sort of drugs in high school. It was never my cup of tea. And then if we passed, we also got sushi, so that was cool because that's my favorite meal. So it was a nice little reward. She took us out for like awesome. A sushi dinner. Yeah, it was great.
That is great. All right, so you're up, buddy. Let me hear your article, or are you just going to start quizzing me?
I got an article.
All right, cool.
I got a pretty awesome article. It combines two of my favorite things, music and science.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. So MIT scientist spins some music out of a spider's web, and it sounds otherworldly.
That's awesome.
Really quick, I want to make sure that I showed the audio because I'm assuming that there is an audio clip for this. At least I hope so. That'd be silly if there wasn't. There
is. I almost picked that article. I saw it and was like, Gavin's going to need this one.
Yeah. Spiders are master builders, especially or expertly weaving strands of silk into intricate 3D webs that serve as a spider's home and hunting ground. If humans could enter a spider's world, they could learn about web construction, arachnid behavior, and more. Yesterday, scientists reported that they have translated the structure of the web into music, which could have applications ranging from better 3D printers to cross-species communication and otherworldly musical composition. The spiders live in an environment of vibrating strings, says Marcus Belher, PhD or MIT, the project's principal investigator, who is presenting the work. They don't see very well, so they sense their world through vibrations, which is different frequencies. Such vibrations occur, for the example, when the spider stretches the silk strand during construction. Or when it's irritating when the ads pop up and then disappear.
It moves it. That's what happened to me a minute ago. I saw that too.
So such vibrations occur, for example, when the spider stretches a silk strand during construction, or when the wind or trapped fly moves the web. Let's see, Belher, who has long been interested with music, wondered if he can extract rhythms and melodies of non-human organisms from natural materials such as spider webs. Webs could be a new source of musical interpretation that is very different from the usual human experience, he says.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, by experimenting with webs through hearing as well as vision, Belher and colleagues of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, together with collaborator Thomas Saraceno at Studio Thomas Saraceno, hope to gain new insight into the 3D architecture and construction of webs. With these goals in mind, the researchers scanned natural spider webs with a laser to capture 2D cross sections, and then use a computer algorithms to reconstruct the web's 3D network. So I'm getting eager. So where's the music? Here it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was like, impatient. I know it's at the bottom. Get it, buddy. I'm excited for this, and I'll full screen it.
I don't know if I like that. It's very sci-fi.
Huh.
I'm gonna stop before I give somebody driving a seizure.
Like for real, I don't know if I like that or not. I like that they made a spider web that has. I love Brian Tracy. That's awesome. It's awesome.
It is awesome. I wonder if they have anybody who's musically inclined, like a producer, working on the song. Because I know the one scientist, he loves music, but like everybody loves music for the most part. There's a lot of people that love music, but also know nothing about composing or producing it.
True. I think a spider web sonification sounds interesting, but I think it needs a musician to take it and twist it, like you're saying. I think that's 100%
absolutely
right.
They do have a key here as well. So somebody theoretically, like if they got the blueprints for the spider web, they could put it into some sort of a music program and sound it out. Because they do have short notes, long notes based on the fiber length. The connectivity is the amplitude for how loud the note is. And then they have a Z-Y, or they have a Y-axis. They have a Y-X axis for the time. Yeah, for the time here. So they have all the ingredients for music right here for the most part, and then distance is pitch.
Really?
But then they just don't.
All right. Now that we know what's what, let's see if you hit play and see if we can see if we notice what's what. Nope, don't like it still. Never mind.
I'm curious on to what way they're reading it as well. If they're reading it left to right, how we do, or if they're reading like the entire web. Because looking over here in this box, it seems like it's coming up from the bottom to the top of the web, but just the entire web.
Yeah. Buddy, look at the fact that it's a spider web that they made music. It just shows you can make music out of anything.
Yeah, remember way back when we found that article where they're making music out of trees?
Mushrooms.
That's right, yeah, mushrooms.
I remember because I got made fun of for it afterwards. I bet Brandon wishes he could have those mushrooms. Yeah? So, if you had musical mushrooms in your backyard, you'd want it too.
I've had musical mushrooms.
Tino even laughed at that in the background. And he just smiled. He was like, that was good. That was good. All right. So, Tino, I will bring you in if you're ready to. We're going to play a game where you and I are going to play
let me grab
trivia.
my trivia.
This is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tino. He is coming on right now. We have Suze, the creative rebel, going to be joining us in a few minutes as well. And for her section of the show this morning, she's going to interview Tino. But right now, she's setting something up. So I'm bringing you in, and we're going to have some fun playing a game. Do you sound like you like trivia?
I love it. I love trivia.
Uh-oh, I might be in trouble then. I might be in trouble. Gavin, I'm like, all right, I got to find how I can Google without being caught, you know?
Don't do that.
I'm not going to. I won't cheat. I'm ready. I'm even going to put my hands up.
All right, you ready? The category is geographical.
Oh, great.
Where do Panama hats actually come from? Is it A, Chile, B, Bolivia, C, Ecuador, or D, Peru?
Oh. I was going to say Cuba.
No.
I was going to say Cuba. That's hilarious. My first thought was Cuba.
It is not Cuba.
Did you say Peru?
Okay.
Peru?
The answers again are A, Chile, B, Bolivia, C, Ecuador, and D, Peru.
I guess Peru then.
Peru.
Final answers? The answer is C, Ecuador.
Oh! I was going to say either Ecuador or Peru.
Yep.
I agree. You and I both went the same. Chile. I have a Peru and a Chile named in here, Gavin. People are guessing with us. I love it.
Yeah. Go right ahead. Let's see. Ooh.
Next one.
All right.
I'm ready. All right, Tino, you're going down, buddy.
Come on.
Let's see. So, history. In which year did the demolition of the Berlin Wall begin? Is it A, 1989, B, 1982, C, 1991, or D, 1973?
I know it.
All right,
Can I get the answer?
I'll write my. Hold on, wait. I will write my answer here, and right now, I will hit send. Go ahead.
1989.
That is correct.
Oh, you're winning. 1-0.
Let's see. Nephophobia is the fear of what? Is it A, heights, B, clouds, C, glass, or D, textbooks?
Can you repeat the word for us?
Nephophobia is the fear of what? Is it A, heights, B, clouds, C, glass, or D, textbook?
I have a guess, and I put it in the chat so that way I can hit send and not cheat. If you have a guess, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go with B, clouds.
That's what I put.
That is the answer. It is B, clouds.
Tino, we're winning. High five.
Hey.
So, Tito's got 2. Brandon's got 1.
I'm catching up. I'm gonna count. Here's the next one. I'm gonna
We'll
tie
do
the game right.
The first person to 3 wins. We'll do that.
Yo, I gotta beat him here. I gotta get this one. Tino, I'm gonna convince you the wrong answer.
Presidential. What U.S. president's State of Union address lasted a record 81 minutes? Is it A, Barack Obama, C, Richard Nixon, A, Barack Obama, B, Richard Nixon, C, Bill Clinton, or D, Theodore Roosevelt? What U.S. president's State of the Union address lasted a record 81 minutes? Is it A, Barack Obama, B, Richard Nixon, C, Bill Clinton, or D, Theodore Roosevelt?
I'm gonna put. All right, my answer's in the comments. My answer, Suze, we're just playing a game. You finish getting ready and give me a thumbs up when you're ready. I have my answer. I submitted it. All right, Tino, it's up to you, buddy.
Sorry, I'm just charging up. I just realized. I'm going to go with Theodore Roosevelt.
The answer is C, Bill Clinton.
So we both got it wrong.
Both got it wrong. Yep. All right. Outer space. What type of galaxy is the most common in the universe?
Oh, he accidentally hung up. I was watching him move his phone. He had the cutest heart pillow I've seen in a long time in the background. Yeah. And I was dying. Suze, if I bring you in, would you like to try to answer this question? All right, here we go. And when he gets back, we'll segue over to your segment. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to give Suze his 2 points.
That's fine with me.
They're on a team.
Suze, you look stunning. Girl, I love your hair. How are you?
Well, we have to keep it fresh. Can't be pink all the time, Got to keep people on their toes, Can't
You're
be
like a modern Amazonian warrior.
Ooh, that's a compliment, I think.
Yeah. I think it's the bracelets. It's the gold that gives me that impression.
My bling bling.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this hair is you get a free facelift at the same time because it pulls your hair back so much. So I get to lose 5 years off my age because they're like.
That's wonderful.
I love it. All right, Suze, you're stepping in.
Okay.
Tino's leading 2-1 in a
2-1.
trivia competition.
Fail, man. I'm
First
terrible.
person to 3 wins.
First 1 to 3. That's it, and it's 3. That's sign language.
You ready?
All right.
So, outer space. What type of galaxy is the most common in the universe? Is it A, spiral, B, elliptical, C, irregular, or D, conical?
Suze, Tino just came back. Do you want me to bring him in for this one?
I'm back. Sorry,
What, you mean he's gonna answer instead of me?
My phone and can you see me okay here or better here?
No, you're good. You're good.
We hear you. We see
you.
you.
Just great.
I like your heart pillow in the background. I was loving watching you. It was great. So, Gavin, go ahead and repeat the question.
Yeah,
you and I are competing here, buddy. You get this, you win. 2-1 you.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even playing.
All right,
so go ahead, Gavin.
So the topic is outer space. What type of galaxy is the most common in the universe? Is it A, spiral, B, elliptical, C, irregular, or D, conical?
Ooh.
I love your facial expressions.
Tino's gone to Google it. That's why he disappeared.
Yeah.
She knows me
smart, man.
well, very well.
I threw my answer in there. When you're ready, Tino, yell it out.
I'm going to go for, I have no idea, C.
The answer is B, elliptical.
Oh, I was going to go for A. You didn't
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, but I failed anyway, like I said.
Okay, yeah. All right,
one more, and then Gavin and I will step out and give Suze and Tino the chance to have their conversation. Suze, we have a request. Where can people get their hair like that? Asking for a friend.
I need to set up commission. Well, you'd have to come to Gozo, the island of Malta. But just go to just ask the any African women who does hair in your community, which is what I did. I just Googled African braids, and that's all. This was the color that she had, so this is the color I went for, and it only took 7 hours. I thought it was going to take 3. Obviously, my memory is really bad because when I had it done in London, I was like, yeah, it only took 3 hours. I obviously just, forgot. It takes 7 hours, and she did not stop. The only breaks we had were to stretch my legs or to have a little pee. But we had her kids around, so it was great. So I got to watch 2 cool movies. I got to see George of the Jungle, which is from the 90s. I loved it. And then we watched Brandon and Gavin's favorite movie, The Greatest Showman.
Oh.
I do love that movie.
It was great. So
I
I was
love it.
thoroughly entertained. So, yeah.
So apparently we lost Tino. Brian Tracy playing in the comments has 3 correct, and he really has been answering them before we have
Yeah.
too.
Gosh.
Technically he won, but he doesn't count on this one. So Brian Tracy, you win a big hug from me next time I see you in a few weeks, okay? But no, you won this one. Tino, I'm gonna take the loss and let you and Suze jump in and have this. You won. Thank you for being our guest, and I'm excited to
Thank
get to
you,
know more
Brendan.
about you.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Kevin.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Guys, this is Suze, the creative rebel, and Tino. Have a great one. We'll be back.
Cool. So everyone, this is Tino Orsini, and Tino and I actually know each other, but we haven't seen each other for, we're going to have to work this out. It's at least 2.5 years, probably longer. So
Yeah.
you're basically seeing a live reunion, and Tino is an actor. So this segment of my show is Creative Revolution. I'm interviewing creative rebels, and Tino is my creative rebel today. And Tino is not only an actor, a director, but he's also a podcaster. So tell me what you've been up to.
Wow, it's been that long, really? Oh my gosh.
I've been in Malta for 2 years and 4 months, so it's
Incredible.
at least
I
that.
think last time I was in Malta and we missed each other within 2 days. I was shooting a corporate video in Valletta, and literally 2 days within you coming over or you coming back to the UK. But it's been that long. Wow. But yeah, I've been working a lot. I've been resting a lot, obviously, in the last year.
Yeah, the resting actor just means the unemployed actor.
Literally,
So
right?
tell me about lockdown. Like, what happened for you during your lockdown experience? You're in London, right? Or you were in London?
We came to Surrey, to my sister's house in Farnham, which is in a lovely village called Farnham. And the very first lockdown was a real struggle for me, Suze, because as you know, I've struggled with mental health in the past, and I was having some really severe panic attacks and overnight and stuff. It was horrible. And somebody asked me to do something very similar to this, would I be interviewed, having a chat about creativity and stuff like that from LA. And I chickened out. The night before, I was texting her saying, look, I can't do this. I'm too scared to do anything. She said, just sleep on it. You'll be fine in the morning. Just sleep over, on it. And then, tell me how you feel in the morning. I woke up, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And from that spurned like various other creative projects and other interviews. And I started writing and yoga, and it's been kind of bliss, really. I mean, I've tried not to look at the news too much. I've tried to, obviously, respecting the laws when we go for walks with a mask, the 2-meter distance, the washing of the hands for 20 seconds, etc., etc. And I've had my first jab, so I'm waiting for my second jab at the end of the month. So it's looking hopeful, but it has been a struggle. It has been a struggle. How's it been for you?
Well,
Malta?
I remember when the first lockdown happened here in Malta, and to be honest, I felt a bit like I had, survivor's guilt, because I was hearing about everyone in the cities really struggling and with their curfews and everything. And we had it really easy here. There's so much nature. You can easily get out and go for walks by yourself. There was never any official lockdown. So we don't have restaurants open and we have to wear masks, but there's never been an official lockdown where we're stuck in our houses. So I had survivor's guilt, but at the same time, what happened to me when it first started was I had this sense of grief, because I feel like there's something, and I don't want to get too political today, and we're not going to spend too much time talking about the lockdown or our ideas of what's going on in the world. But I would say that it put me into a sense of grief, the loss of freedom for the world. Yes, I kind of went into a sense of grief, but that was my.
We all felt that sense of grief, all over the world. There was an ending, and
it is. It's an ending to life as we knew it.
Yeah, it's completely changed forever. You know, we can never go back to what it was like. We can
Yeah.
just move forward with the knowledge that we've learned from it, and we can move
Yeah.
forward from this. And I know we can. We've been
Yeah.
through very similar things in the past. You know, I'm thinking the Spanish flu in 18, and you know, and various other pandemics, the HIV/AIDS pandemic. You know,
We can get through anything. We're gonna be good. I
We're
just
very
want to
resilient.
let the guys in the back know that if you're there, please share any comments from the audience, because I don't get to see them. So if people are posting things, because in case the audience want to have questions, but we can always post them. Oh, cool. We got a question from Brian. I will take it. Okay. I don't want to know about, I don't want to talk about vaccines. Let's talk about something more positive. So, Tino, let's talk about how we first met and see if your memory and my memory is the same.
I think we met at the Jamie Cutter workshop.
Exactly. Yes, that's my memory
Yeah.
too. And I don't have a great memory, so I wouldn't count on mine. But let's start with yours and see if our versions are the same.
You were wearing sunglasses, and I think you had a beautiful scarf around your neck. And I thought, wow, she's who is she? You know, and we sort of did a weekend workshop, and we were partnered up for an exercise and how we wanted to, I don't know, materialize our dreams. You know, it's a wonderful workshop that Jamie does. I think from there, then after a few months, I was doing a show, and the leading lady had to drop out for some various reasons. And I went to the rehearsal room, and there you were.
Taking over from the
Literally
actress that
within
dropped
like
out.
2 days of
Yeah.
opening night, you learned the script, and
Yeah.
you went on miraculously. I don't know how on earth you did it. And so we became firm friends since. We've worked. You did my podcast, didn't you?
Yes. Well, let's go back a little bit so I can give my version. So my version is we met at this workshop, and you had to pick the person in the room that you would least likely want to hang out with, or least likely think you had something in common. You know,
Right.
and Tino, I think, was wearing a shirt, and you know, and it was so funny because once we got to know each other, it turned out that actually we had loads in common because we were both actors at the time. And actually since then we've been really good friends. Yes. And then the next time we really got to know each other, Tino was in a play in London at the Chelsea Theatre. And a friend of mine called me up and said, hey, the lead actress dropped out. What he actually said was, we don't know anyone crazy enough to learn this play as the lead part in 4 days. So I thought of you. Do you think you can do it? And I was like, yeah, I love a good challenge. So yeah, I learned the play in essentially 3.5 days. I think it was maybe 4 days.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and yeah, it was great. It was so much fun. I love a crazy deadline. This is
You
how
were
I
amazing. I don't know how you got that kind of. You nailed it. You know, you became that character literally 2 or 3 days before we opened, where we had like a couple of 2 or 3 months of rehearsals. You know.
Well, thank you very much. But this interview is not about me. It's about you, Tino. So
Look at my shirt.
Okay, so Brandon's asking you, what is your podcast called? Tino's podcast got officially selected for an award, and we both went up to Manchester for the awards ceremony, which was amazing. And the reason that it's so exciting to me was because we were in my kitchen in London, and we'd been talking for a long time. And then we went into the kitchen, and Tino suddenly said, you know, like if I could really do anything I wanted to do, I think I'd have a radio show. And I was like, do it. And he never mentioned it again. But then the next time I saw him, he had this podcast show, and he had guests every single week. And then it got nominated for an award. And it was like, how many episodes have you done?
We, funnily enough, I was just talking to my sound engineer and producer, because I'm sort of in talks of sort of bringing it back. We finished it after 100 episodes.
100 episodes,
yeah,
that's amazing.
But it's still online if anybody wants to listen. It's about the creative journey, and it touches on the spirituality and what it means to be a creative rebel. May I
Awesome.
use your title? In today's world and today's industry, whether you're an actor or a singer, or director or photographer, whatever, and I had the most amazing time. We came out every week on iTunes and various other portals, and like you said, we went up to Manchester to accept our nomination for the Best Arts Podcast at the UK Podcasters Awards, which was a real treat, and what an honor to be there. And we had so much fun that weekend. It was so much fun to be up there in Manchester. And yeah, I mean, thanks. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to do, and we're in talks of sort of bringing it back, maybe on a kind of a visual format. But I was just chatting with Sergio. I'm not sure whether you remember Sergio Cabrera.
Yes. Oh, well, it's fantastic if it comes back. But give everyone the name, because
the Tino Orsini Show. Very simple.
Tino Orsini Show. I love it. I am just now clicking the link, and I'm going to add it.
It's still there.
I'll let Brandon do.
I've left it there for people to, if you're interested in other artists, other creative journeys, do have a listen and see what you think. I'd love you to.
Okay, so I'm clicking the link up here, and the guys will add it to YouTube. So Gavin's asking, were you naturally outgoing as a child, or did you have to grow out of your shell over time in your teenage or later years? That is a great question.
That's one of the nicest questions I've ever been asked, because I was really shy as a kid, and then I found plays, I found drama, I found the acting group, and I thought, yeah, this is great. I can show off. And I did come out of my shell, and it really saved me, because it sort of brought me out of my shell and gave me confidence and the ability to do things that I thought I would never do in a million years. Put myself up, in front of people and be vulnerable and put myself out there. No way, right? But no.
What did your family think? What did your family think of your decision to go into acting? Because you do it professionally as a job. It's not just something you do as a hobby. I mean,
yeah, I do.
What did your family think of that?
My career is they know my father. My late father was very supportive and very. My mother still has her doubts, but she's sort of secretly supportive. She's quietly supportive of my career. But it's nobody. I mean, apart from my uncle, who's a restaurateur and a film producer, nobody in my family really. They're all in restaurants, and they have colleges and bars and things like that. Nobody's really an actor in my family, so I never had a kind of a role model to follow or anything like that. I just found it by sheer chance. I found the drama group, and I auditioned for the play, and I fell in love with it. And I every artist started out as an amateur, right? I mean,
is that how you started? Was it just a group that you found? Did you go to school, or what was your first thing?
In the school, the London Oratory School that I went to, there was the LOST, the London Oratory School Theatre Group, and I used to go there on a weekly basis and stuff, and that's what gave me the inspiration to actually say, well, I can do this and monetize from it and follow my dreams and have a fulfilling career. So I went to Los Angeles instead of going to university, and I got accepted at the Stella Adler Conservatory, where I trained intensively with that particular institution. It was an amazing experience. It was, LA was just amazing, and it's been quite a ride. Yeah. And
what about since this whole shift in the world and the lockdown? Are you still able to work, or is everything online, or how has it affected your day-to-day work and your career and stuff?
Well, I haven't really worked, for about a year. I did a short film in the middle of the lockdowns last summer, but I've been doing a lot of stuff online. A lot of Zoom recordings. I've been doing some poetry readings and some, on my social media and stuff for people to enjoy. But a lot of self-taping actually lately. So I'm just.
I hear that. I hear that's all the rage now. All auditions are done.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
self-tapes. Yeah, it's
I've
interesting
become
for an
quite
actress.
used to them. When I used to receive self-tape audition requests from my agent, and I used to think, oh no, I don't want to do it. Now I'm looking forward to them. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a little tripod, I've got my light, you know.
I think I would prefer that, because the thing I used to hate as an actress is going to castings. I used to hate that awkwardness of going into a room with people you've never met, and then, you know, just sort of having to come up with ideas out of thin air and not knowing if they liked it or not. And sometimes they're looking at their phone, not at you, and it feels very impersonal. I used to really, so I would way prefer the option of having to do it online. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, you're well oiled with recording your own journey online. You know, like myself, I've become quite familiar with the whole sort of recording and editing and things like that, which used to terrify me, and no longer have that grasp on me. But I kind of miss the live auditions as well, I guess. I mean, I'm a bit of a chatterbox when I'm waiting to go in, and I like, you know, networking with other actors.
Yeah, meeting people. Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, with what's going on in the world, if you are a bit of an extrovert and you do like that buzz of hanging out with people, you know, everyone's being forced to spend a lot more time alone or online, and it's not the same as giving someone a hug and getting that connection. So what's the best job you've ever had? Like what's the most fun you've ever had on a set, whether it's film, TV, or theater?
I did an episodic, and they flew me to Malaga in the south of Spain, which was the most beautiful location I'd ever been to, and the crew were huge. It was called Berlin Station, and it starred Richard Armitage, and I had a scene with Richard Armitage, and I was, you know, an awesome actor, you know, and he was very cool and, you know, very focused, and we did the scene, and you know, the amount of crew that was out there in the location, they had to close off the road, and there were police, you know, make sure that people wouldn't, you know, the public wouldn't enter the main area. It was the biggest thing I'd ever done, you know. And it was only one scene, you know. They flew me to Spain, and that was pretty awesome. That was about sort of 3 or 4 years ago now.
So what's your, do you have a claim to fame? Is there someone that you've worked with that I mean, because your uncle knows a lot of famous people, right, from the restaurants that you have in London, so you've met a lot of famous people. So out of all the famous people that you've either worked with or met and hung out with, who would you say has impacted you, or you were delighted to discover that they were as nice in person as you thought they might be? Who would be?
Yeah, my uncle does. He's very, very well connected in the industry, film, music, etc. Actually, lately there's a documentary called More Than Miyagi, the Pat Morita story. And Pat Morita, you know, everybody I'm sure knows, was Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid film franchise.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've just done a documentary. And so wax on, wax off. So I'm getting contacted from all over the world saying, oh my God, you know, did you actually never met Pat? I know his wife, Evelyn. But he was very, very good friends with my father as well. So I never actually met him, unfortunately. But I'm in the credits of this new documentary. So people are contacting me saying, oh my God, did you know Miyagi? I was like, not really. I'm kind of like a family friend. But so
you were never able to go to him and say, Mr. Miyagi, I broke my leg.
Yes, exactly. But I'm in the credits because Evelyn did an episode of the podcast, and they were going to add some of the audio recording onto the documentary, which never ended up in the documentary. So that's why I'm in the credits.
But I bet if you sat down and did like a 6 degrees of separation, whoa, Tino's 6 degrees of separation would be mad. Because honestly, I know your uncle's met people like Patrick Swayze and I mean, he's my hero, but you know, lots and lots of famous people. And I reckon your I reckon you probably can't even think about it now, but I reckon if you sat down, you'd realize that you're probably 1 degree of separation from some really, really cool and interesting people.
Yes, you're
Should
right.
we see if the guys want to come back on and
Bring them
ask
back
you
on.
any questions if they're still back there? They might have gone off to eat some sandwiches. Oh no, they're there.
No, I was actually typing my next question. Did you ever have a celebrity that you were extremely nervous to meet, that you just like, you get that awe factor? I mean, there's always someone that we look at and we're like, oh, like mine is Elon Musk. I'm excited for the day I get to meet Elon Musk and we give each other a big hug. He's just going to see me and want to hug me. I know it.
Everyone sees you and wants to hug you, Brandon.
But
I
did you ever...
haven't had the chance yet because we're too far away.
I know. I have to give you digital hugs. That's why I write you nice messages all the time. I'm like, Suze, your hair looks incredible. I wish I had hair.
I can lend you some. I got a lot now.
You do have a lot now. But Tino, who is there ever been a celebrity or producer, director even, that when you were getting to meet them, it was like the nerves kicked in and the the natural, oh my gosh, I get to meet them kicks in?
I got to interview Susie Quattro, the rock legend, and I was so nervous when I chatted with her, you know, because I grew up with her on TV and her music, you know, in the 80s when I was a teenager. So I was.
What band is she from?
She's English.
What band is she from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant where she's from. Well, it's just Susie Quattro.
Oh, okay.
It's just her careers, you know, she's played, you know, all over the world, you know, but yeah, that was pretty intimidating, but she turned out to be really, really sweet. So I was really chuffed. Yeah. I've met loads of people. I used to live out in LA, so, you know, you'd bump into Sharon Stone or Schwarzenegger's eating at the next table, or Stallone's back there somewhere. You know, it was just the normal. You know what I mean? It was
every day. You know, somewhere.
That's exactly how my days are. I'm like, hey,
I know.
Tom.
I have Schwarzenegger sitting next to me while I have my breakfast, and then I
hey,
just
Tom Hanks. How's the Oscars?
Sharon Stone on the way home.
So,
have you been to any award ceremonies that? Like the Oscars, the Emmys.
I wasn't at the Oscars, but I was at my uncle catered for an after party at the Oscars. So we had people coming in, David Lynch and all these people. I mean, he had the whole food set up there, and I was just helping him out, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. But I went to. I actually got an award, the Best Performance Award at a film festival in London called the IL Film Festival, Italian London Film Festival, and it was for a short film, and that was pretty cool.
I was supposed to go with you. I think I was supposed.
Were you really?
If I am correct, is this the occasion where I was supposed to be your +1 and I got a dress made and you left the dress on the bus?
No, it was the train.
Oh, you left it on the train. Does it make a difference? I lost my dress.
It was the most beautiful dress ever, Brandon.
It was really epic. I never got to wear it because Tino was supposed to bring it to me and he left it on a train.
I left the train, the carriage, and the doors closed, and the train went. I was like, oh. I
still feel sad about that dress.
We never got it back, did we?
Never mind.
That was something.
The important thing is you won the award, but I wasn't there.
I did win that time. Yes, we won the award, and then it was really it was a real treat, you know, to be rewarded for something that you love doing, you know.
Because you've done so much. You've done everything from theater, TV, and film. And how, without exposing your age or anything, like how many years roughly are we talking? I mean, it's not a couple.
Well, no, I mean, I've been going at this for quite a while, and
so you deserve at least one award. Even just one. Award, yeah. You just need one for longevity. I'm still in it. Exactly. I think every actor who's still in it after even 5 years should get an award because, I mean, even Julia Roberts looking like Julia Roberts, it took her 5 years of being a waitress before she actually, became the Julia Roberts that we know now. So for the rest of us that don't look like Julia Roberts, and it's a long haul. And so I really admire people who are still persevering and still,
I
still
love
in
it. I just can't give it up. You know, I love that feeling of being on a set or on stage. And I feel like I'm of service, you know. I feel like I'm this sort of vessel, this channel, this kind of bigger picture than just being an actor. I mean, it creates so many opportunities in my life, you know, being creative and being an artist.
And what do you feel? And what do you feel what do you feel you're serving? Like when you're embodying a character, or what is it you feel that? I mean,
I feel like I'm connecting to kind of my kind of acting ancestors, and where there was literally one guy who was telling a story to the group of people surrounding him. I feel like I feel that urge to carry that tradition onwards, you know. And
like
of course,
storyteller, the keeper of stories.
Yeah, the keeper of stories.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You know, it's you know, you're putting yourself in a very kind of vulnerable position, because you're tapping into stuff which might be uncomfortable. And you know, and obviously it's scary, you know, it's daunting. I mean, you know, anything I do, I just, you know, everything before I get on stage, I'm like, oh my God, you know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Why am I putting myself through this? You know? But then I get on stage and it's like, whoa, you know, it's like Dr. Theatre, everything's fine again. I'm like,
and then you forget everything. What's the movie that has, because I think movies, and I mean, it can be plays as well, but movies are so accessible these days. Movies, you know, we all have those movies that we've seen over and over again because they ignite something in us. They, you know, they light us up. What is the movie that you watch that, I don't know, gives you courage if you need it, or inspires you if you're feeling low or something? Is there a particular movie you turn to again and again?
Tootsie.
And why?
Because I just love the whole story of him dragging up to get some work as an actor, and you know, it's I've seen it like 100 times. But another one I really love is called Cinema Paradiso, which is an Italian film, obviously, which won the best foreign picture award in the 90s, and that's a wonderful film. That's a really beautiful film about, you know, a village and how the cinema in that village is the epicenter through the generations of the village. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Oh, so all the films that are inspiring you are films predominantly about film or about acting.
Why?
And that's probably why you've stayed in the industry for so long.
I think so. I mean, I love being an actor. I love experimenting as far as being a director and producer as well, and writing. But yeah, I think, you know, I was just a very curious child. I was always watching television and thinking, oh, you know, that I was always trying to analyze the scene. You know, it was very, you know, I was very mature for my age, and I always thought, maybe one day I can go through that tube which leads to there, and I can get in there, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. And I'm like, wow, it's like, okay, it's got its challenges, but it's kind of fun at the same time.
And have you noticed the kind of difference of the roles that you played, you know, as you change and grow, as you get older,
you get older, you get grayer, you get more wrinkles, and it's like.
And have you minded that? Have you sort of moved with that sort of gracefully? And
well, I hope so. I mean, it's helped me get more roles. You know, I play a lot of priests. You know, they kind of see me as I've just did a short film, which is in post-production. It's a wonderful short film, which is hopefully going to come out at the festivals later on this year. It's called The Right Reverend, and I played a reverend in that. A lot of religious men of cloth, but also on the other flip side, I played a lot of, like, you know, gangsters and mafiosi and kind of like,
I can see that bit of
New York tough guys, you know, a lot of that. So
Gavin's asking how long it took you to get your first role, your first professional role.
My very first professional role, I believe, was Pushed to the Limit. It was a female wrestling movie.
A female wrestling movie.
Yeah.
They didn't dress you up in drag for this one, I'm taking
very
it.
Very random indeed, Suze. I mean, it starred the magnificent Mimi, who's a very well-known wrestler in LA. So she auditioned me, and I was doing a play within a month that I got my first play in LA within a month.
Wow.
Which was pretty awesome. And this film came up, and then I did The Making of and God Spoke, which was kind of a very quirky, behind the scenes kind of movie about making a movie. So then, yeah, it kind of spiraled. I came back to the UK. I kind of stopped working for a while, just went different directions, and then came back and started my love affair with performing again. And
that must have been so exciting. I mean, like we were saying earlier in the program, life is probably never going to be the way it was, and you got to have that experience of, what was it, 80s or 90s in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's potentially never going to be the same. I suppose that's obvious that life is never going to be the same from one day to the next, but it really feels like we're entering a new dimension, and we don't really know what that looks going to look like.
It's kind of exciting, isn't it?
I don't know.
Very, but exciting. It's scary. I get it.
Suppose it could be if we reframed it, but I think there are many elements of the losses of freedom that don't really sit right with me. That frightened me, but at the same time, obviously, you can reframe anything to a positive. Yeah. But yes, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. So
it's the fear of the unknown.
Birth of something new, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully it can bring us into, like you say, a new way of living, which is more harmonious, and we'll have learned something from this,
Maybe.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So what are you working on now? You said you sort of taking a bit of a break right now. I guess there's probably not. Well, I suppose people can't really film an awful lot right now, I guess.
Well, it's very, like I said, I did this short film last summer, and it was only a day or two on set, and everything was in place. All the the COVID, the regulations were in place, and everybody was very respectful of each other's space. And we were.
You got to act like 2 meters apart. That might be true.
I know. And literally, we were acting. The camera was like 2 meters. The scene partner was on the other side of me. It was about 2 meters.
Oh.
But I haven't really worked. I haven't been on set since. I'm sort of doing a lot of writing, kind of developing. Sort of, I would love to do my one-man show and stuff like that.
Did you ever do a one-man show? I think I remember you.
I've never done a one-man show. No, a one-person show.
That would be a cool thing. I mean, it's something you can do now online. You don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't really need a theater. I mean, I think that's the change as far as actors and artists are concerned. Your theater is your screen. That's your theater. Actually, I saw a director the other day that I will hopefully bring on here for to speak to, who he got all these actors to do a film on using Zoom. So they all come on as their character. So when you see, instead of writing Tino Orsini, you would write your name, whether you're a mafia gangster or a priest, you would have your name, and then you have the green screen. So if you're supposed to be in the same room as the other actors, you'll all have the same background. I thought it was a really original concept. I was surprised how well it went, because you would think there would be terrible hiccups and people interrupting each other, but they've obviously rehearsed, which must have taken a lot. And I was so impressed. I thought, wow, okay, it's not ideal, but I love the fact that they're taking, the situation that we have and making the best out of it. It was brilliant. It was it's essentially you're watching like a live movie happening right now. I thought that was brilliant.
I was watching on Netflix the show called Staged. And it's basically just done on Zoom, and they're rehearsing the play they were supposed to do before theaters closed down, and they just put it on. It's amazing how, as a community, we can adapt to anything that comes our way, including a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what an entrepreneur is, but that's also what a creative is. I mean, I don't know if you remember when we were in that play. It was called The Madman and the Nun, the one where I took over the lead. And I remember I came in really early because, I had to really concentrate to get all those lines in. So I didn't want any distractions. So I would come in really early to prepare. And I remember one day there was a leak from the ceiling coming down to the front row of the auditorium. And I ran round to the stage manager. I said, just letting you know, there's a leak. And they were like, well, we can't really fix it between now and the performance. There's not really a lot we can do. So they just had to put a bucket down for this leak. The first few seats in the front row couldn't be used. Now, you know, obviously that would be considered a bit of a disaster. Oh my God, I hate it. You know what was amazing was that I was playing a nun who goes into an asylum and gets seduced by a madman. Yeah, just your regular average
It was
play.
a wonderful play, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
This sounds like a Wednesday night.
And this drip was coming down all the time
Like,
from the leak
literally.
in the ceiling into the
made
bucket.
the scene like so atmospheric, didn't it?
I loved it. I loved it. And I used that as my focus. So I would just stare at this drip because I was supposed to be in this asylum and feeling really uncomfortable. And when they fixed it, then I know 2 days later, when they fixed it, I was like, oh, damn, that was fantastic. So sometimes, you know, you can use the disaster and turn it into something really special. So we have Gavin and Brandon back. Do you have any more questions for Tino?
Yeah, so I am actually just got signed into PMTM Modeling and Talent. I'm going to be doing a meeting with them soon, signing a contract and all that. And then I will be doing auditions for different acting jobs. And I was wondering, as a young aspiring actor, what advice would you give to me, and any sort of jewels of wisdom that you might have?
Don't do it. No,
Let Tino go. Don't do it.
I'm kidding. Enjoy it. I mean, I would say just, you know, just really take it in, you know, because if you work hard, you know, it'll happen, and you'll be ready for that. You know, if you're prepared for whatever it is, your idea of success or the kind of roles you want to play. When you reach that, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I can take this on, you know. Yeah. So take it all in, take the process in. It's a you know, if you're in for the long haul, then go for it. You know, really, you know, it's an amazing craft, and the business side of it all it can be a little bit demoralizing, but it keeps the artist alive. So it's a two-way thing. You know,
So would you say just tell him to just take whatever job? Sorry, Brandon, I'm not ignoring you. Would you tell? I'm just rudely interrupting. Would you tell him? Would you tell him just take whatever role you can get and just get as much experience as you can? Would you say?
I mean, I'm not one to sort of give people advice. I mean, I can only
speak
from my own experience.
Go for it. He needs it, so go for it. He's asking.
I would like some advice.
I mean,
from the elders, please teach me.
Somebody asked me if I went to the barbers yesterday, and they said, "Are you retired?" I was like, "I don't think so, not yet." That was a real eye opener. But no, I mean, I've been in the industry for many years, but I had a break, you know, in the middle where I went other directions. But I always merged back because I was really fascinated by, again, this sort of storytelling process. And the idea that you can be all these wonderful characters that you wouldn't get to be in real life, because I'm just me. I'm not a priest. I'm not a, you know, whatever. But any advice,
I mean, you could be one if you wanted to. I have a friend who started his own religion and is now legally a minister. Yeah.
Wow.
No way. No. I'm a licensed minister, but I didn't start my own religion. So what?
He did that to avoid tax reasons. Like,
yeah, you just publicly announced that online.
No, but I mean,
he's a genius. He's hilarious.
If there's nothing else you can do, then go for it. That's what I say. You know, if there's nothing else that you want to do, then go for it, because you know the opportunities will be there once you take yourself seriously, because it's a very it's a fun profession. You know, you get to meet loads of people, you get to work some really fun guys and gals, and you get to travel the world, and it's interesting and it's fascinating. It still fascinates me. And but it's tough. It can be really tough. There's fallow periods when you don't get work, when you're not getting an audition, you're not getting booked, and you're like, ugh, you know. And it's it can be really, you know. So you need to find your tribe, the people that bring out the magic from you rather than the madness.
Like here, this is our tribe, and we're here to cheerlead and support everyone in following dreams. Brandon, did you have a question quickly before?
I'm sorry, yes, and it was not an appropriate one, but I'm going to ask it anyways. If Gavin was assigned to do a porno, would you recommend that he does a porno?
Would I what? Would I what?
Like, do you think that would shoot his career up like it did the Kardashian family?
No.
I mean, no. Oh,
Don't
man.
do porn. That's a no-no.
That don't do porn, but that was where he wanted to like make his name. He wanted to be the new Ron Jeremy, just the Gavin Kerr. Oh, that sounds like a porn name, Gavin Kerr.
That does ring a bell.
Gavin
Yeah,
Kerr.
you're right, Gavin Kerr. I can see that. Yeah,
Poor Gavin.
porn. Well, it's a no-no in my book.
Yeah.
No, don't do it.
So
I
you
didn't
never shot-
plan on it.
What?
you,
I didn't
you
plan
never
on
shot
it.
No, he's asking me. You never shot a porno.
I can honestly say no, I haven't.
Okay, just checking, making sure. I gotta make sure because I like
not in public anyway.
not in. I love it. I love it. That is funny. Tino, you were absolutely amazing. I put your IMBD up here. I put your webpage up here. I didn't even like
comments. Unfortunately, I would really love to be able to see the comments.
So I apologize. There's tech problems. All of a sudden, my internet just went down, like everything. My mom and dad are like in the background yelling at me, like, "Ah, what did you do?" I'm like, I have no control over this. Like, and then the minute I get back on, Gavin has to mute me because they're doing a tornado warning siren around the corner. I'm like, and there's no any way of storms right now. So I was cracking up. I'm like, this couldn't be any funnier to me. Like, it's just life. But
You're just testing it.
It was testing my patience on me. I got through it. But I'm excited because Tino, I look forward to hearing more about what you're doing in the future, keeping up with you. If you decide to bring your podcast back, please let us know, just because of the fact it would be awesome to actually have like you talk about what you're doing, where you're going, yes, and where like what the next things you are able to be doing with this, because your IMBD was awesome.
Thank you so much. No, keep in touch, and I love collaborating with other creatives. So I'm up for anything that doesn't involve a porno. That doesn't involve a porno, basically. Yeah.
Are you sure about what if it's like a okay? Oh man, I got nixed on that really quick. There goes my directing career.
But I wouldn't mind doing RuPaul's Drag Race. That'd be fun.
Yeah, Tino, I can see you doing that. That would be hilarious. Yeah. That would be hilarious.
I have to admit, my favorite comment on your webpage was what was it, like the angry gay guy or something like that. I was like, that's a great name. It was like I thought it said the grumpy gay guy.
And I was like, he's a critic in London. Yeah.
I laughed so hard because I'm like, is he a fan of Grumpy Cat or something? Like, it just totally threw me off. But, Tino, it was an honor to lose to you in trivia today. Suze, you creative rebel. I love it. You brought a great interview. Gavin, are you ready, my friend? I think our next guest is ready, too, if I'm correct. Ginger Kate should be in the background. Oh, well, then guess what? You and I are going to keep talking to Tino and them.
Well, Tino and I can talk for ages. I mean, we're just like
we have a lot of
we're just like power mouths. We could just talk all day.
You're more than allowed to. I love it. So, but guys, it has been more than a pleasure. Tino, I'm going to share your information one more time on here for everybody. And please know, you have been nothing but a joy. And actually, I'm going to give you one thing. Give everybody an inspirational message before you leave, something to help them keep following their dreams, following their steps. We do this at the end of the show. I'm doing it with you because you were so much fun, and I'm following your lead by not going into porn now. So please teach us all something else.
We've saved Gavin.
Gosh, that's a bit of a wow.
It's a big one. I'm sorry. I put you on the spot with that one. Yeah.
I'm still reeling off the porno question. I love, I've said this before in interviews, I love the motto that says, to thine own self be true. Especially in an industry like this, we need to, really why do we want to do it? Why? What is it? What is it that attracts us to performing or whatever it is? And find a good reason for yourself, because you know the success will happen, and when it does, like I said earlier, you'll be ready and you'll be amazing. You'll be on a world stage. Honestly, you'll enjoy it. You'll love it more than ever. To thine own self be true. It's a little soppy, but that's
No,
that's what I
spoken
think.
like a true actor.
I love it.
And where is the quote from? Just so everyone.
I have no idea. To thine own self be true.
Is it Shakespeare?
Possibly Shakespeare. Yeah, possibly.
We'll have to look that up.
Look it up. Google. Yeah.
Well, everybody,
I love how he said that. Google.
we got our next guest here. Thank you both so much for being on today. Looking very excited to keeping in touch with you, Tina and Suze.
Much fun. I loved it.
I loved this.
Absolutely. We had a blast to have you here.
Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Guys. Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye.
Take care. We'll see you next week. All right, Brandon, give the intro to our next guest.
I have nothing, buddy. I can't even log in right now. I'm doing this from my phone.
Oh, that's right. All right. 1 second. I will pull up her intro really quick.
So I'm just gonna.
I feel like the world is just running. So I feel like I could do her bio. Ready? Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Please, you get ready to hit her in and hit the button. You ready, guys? Everybody ready? Here we go. I'm making this up on the spot. I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna introduce to you one of the badass women of the world. She's not only a tattoo artist, she changes the world around her every single day. She's not just a ginger. She is the one and only Ginger Kate. Thank you for coming on, Ginger Kate.
Good
Hey, how you
morning,
doing?
gentlemen. Hi, how you guys doing today? Good morning.
Doing great. How are you? Can you go ahead and take your phone and tilt it on the side if you could, so it's in landscape mode?
Not that
There
I-
we go. It just
Beautiful,
makes us be
perfect.
able to see you better, and you're too beautiful not to see all of you.
Oh, thank you. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm on my phone as well, so I heard that. I'm like, I'm not the only one.
Mine was I don't know if you were watching before this. The internet just cut out. I was asking a question and I lost everything.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it was definitely one of those moments where my heart goes, "Oh my God!" And then when I'm at my parents' house for a little bit, having two tech non-savvy parents was a lot of fun with hearing, "What the hell just happened? Fix it!" It's like, okay, but I am so grateful to have you on. I have heard nothing but amazing things about the great Ginger Kate, and I just want you. I see she even does the pose. I love it. So, Banana Tattoo. Tell us about Banana Tattoo, and then just so you know, you're gonna get a lot of questions about tattoos because I'm a big tattoo guy. I like to get tattooed. It's a therapy for me. Talk to me about how you got into it and Banana Tattoo.
Awesome. Well, years and years ago, I was introduced into the industry by having to fix a tattoo for my first husband. And I did a great job from there. I started tattooing on neighbors. And then I kind of was like, yeah, I need to get apprentice. I need to do this the right way. So I was in Southern California. That's where I'm from, born and raised. I came to Arizona in 2009. That entire background of what I do followed me out here. And I opened up my shop in 2016. After being in and out of different shops, dealing with the drama, and it's just not fun when you don't own it yourself. So Banana was kind of a fruition of, I wanted something that would be fun and non-threatening. When a customer walks in, I didn't want them to feel this sense of, I'm in a cult, it has to be red and black and death and skulls and scary. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be inviting and warm and silly. And not only do I offer custom tattoos, I offer permanent makeup as well. I'm an ordained minister. I just became a notary. I found a one-stop shop here. But
like for real.
And the ironic twist is I'm actually allergic to bananas. I don't like them at all. I think they're gross. But I thought it would be fun. Yeah, I know. It's great. No, but I was like, what's the hottest thing on the market? And at the time, I was like, Apple and iPhone. Why not Banana Tattoo? And so from there, I secured the number, which is 623 bananas. So it kind of just all went in this appealing
That's cool.
motion to
That is
make
cool.
sure- Yeah, so I mean it's fun. I mean I have anywhere age range from 80-year-old customers to freshly, never been tattooed, or even parental consents, which sometimes those are a little bit trying, but it depends on the person. Everything is different. It's all circumstantial. So it's great.
Do you
though.
ever
I love
have
it.
people just like come into your shop with a stack of papers like, hey, I need this notarized. Also, here's my marriage license, and then here is the permission for my adopted son to get his first tattoo.
Oh, everything. Yeah.
Can you
everything.
notarize that?
Yeah.
Exactly. Can you notarize that, please? Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, it's just everything in general. You never deal with the same situation twice usually, and it's just the customers are great. I love sitting there and we go back and forth and just divulge stories, and it's fun, and I get to learn a lot about people, and you kind of get to see the different aspects of life in general. So
Absolutely.
What is the? Go ahead, buddy. I can ask questions all day. I'm just here to look pretty today.
What is the average time length? What
Yeah.
do you say the average time length is for a tattoo session when you go in?
It just depends on what the tattoo is in general. It could be a tiny little, like a little finger tattoo versus a half sleeve or a whole sleeve or a rib piece. I'm working on a bodysuit right now that is amazing, and COVID kind of impeded on a lot of the stuff that we were doing. So
I have a question about the body.
Brandon, take it really quick.
Okay.
I got you, buddy. I can't touch anything. I have no control. I'm on a phone with you, so you and I are gonna have fun, Kate. But with the body tattoo, first question: male, female?
Male.
Everything? I have to ask.
It's a chest, half sleeves, and it goes down the entire solid back to the back of the thighs. So it's the full bottom and everything.
Well, now I'm going to ask questions as a non-tattoo person. And even though I know the questions not to ask, like the first one, how many tattoos do you have?
Yeah, I know. I'm like my right arm is not tattooed, and that's about it. So
really? See, that's funny. My right arm is a full sleeve tattoo.
Really? Yeah, that's my left. But see, I'm
No.
right-handed, so I can't. I'm not ambidextrous, so I can't tattoo my my right arm.
All right, what is your full sleeve?
I have like bits and pieces. So I started with my elbow. So I have a ring. That was like my first one. When I went into the shop where I apprenticed at, there was a guy that was getting his elbow done, and he was crying. And I'm like, I want my tattoo on my elbow because I want to see how bad it is. And it really wasn't. Like, It's just, I think it's definitely mind over matter on some of the things that you do. And that's where a lot of people will channel and focus their energy on the tattoo itself, where it becomes tattoo therapy. You are sitting there and enduring the pain and whatever has gone on in your life, joy, pain, whatever. And if you're able to channel it, usually you don't feel it as bad. So that helps.
That's how it was for my foot. I have I got a foot tattoo that took about 3 hours. And it was my shortest tattoo so far. Because usually I go in for about like 7 to 9 hour sessions, and I'll take a nap for a good 3 of those hours, and then we'll stop in the middle of the break and get some food really quick. We'll have it delivered and we'll eat, and then we'll go back into it. But my foot tattoo was only 3 hours, and it was just nothing but just focusing, just listening to music and just focusing on the tattoo to get through, because it was so painful for me.
Well, and see, I work with a bunch of different body numbers as well. So sometimes the customer itself doesn't want to endure the pain. They just want to reap the benefits of the tattoo, which I am totally down for. There's nothing that's going to take away anything other than the fact that you got the tattoo. You know what I mean? However you ended up doing it, you got the tattoo. So rib pieces, like I just did an elbow piece the other night where the kid was like really scared to get it. I'm like, hey, I have number, it's got to sit for 30 minutes, but we'll knock it out after that. And he was like, I can't believe I'm getting my elbow tattooed. Like he was like so stoked because he didn't think that he would be able to do it. But the numbers, I mean, some of them are just incredible, and it's always usually a lidocaine base, but I mean, they're great. So it definitely helps. But I don't have my feet tattooed actually. I want to do the bottom of my foot. I want to tattoo a banana peel on the bottom of my foot and say final slip. I just think it'd be kind of a funny thing at the very end. You got to giggle out of some mortician that's like, really, this is what the girl's got on her foot. But
I love it. See, I actually want to get a B, the letter B, tattooed on my knees, so I can go around telling everybody I'm the bee's knees.
I love it.
See?
I love
But do you have a favorite tattoo of yours?
I
know that's both that you've done, and one that maybe is on you that you're like, this one means the most to me, and every time I see it, I think of it. I think of whatever it may be.
I let my kids tattoo me, so that's every summer. It's tradition. They got to tattoo mom before they go back to school.
How old are your kids? How old are your kids? I have to ask this. I'm sorry.
My son is going to be 16 in July, and my daughter is 10 years old. So
and they tattoo. Hold on, they tattoo you?
My daughter started when she was 6, and so my son was about 10 or 11, and yeah. So
can you show us one of your daughter and your son's tattoos, please?
If you can see it right here. So my daughter did that heart, and then my son did that heart. My son did that diamond. So it's like, I know that they're like the most perfect memories of them and that time period and everything else. And those are my absolute favorite tattoos. So.
Oh my gosh.
Did they have an issue of being heavy-handed when they first, or were they like very hesitant about tattooing you?
Oh no, my son he grew up in tattoo shops from the age of about 3.5, 4 years old. So he would be chilling over in the corner doing his Legos, doing his thing. So he really got acclimated to the sound of tattoo machines, which back then it was all coils that we would run. My daughter, I was tattooing up until the day I had her. And so they were joking with me at the shop that I was working at. They're like, are you going to start setting up your tray on your stomach? Like, because you're getting super pregnant, you know? And I'm like, I would stop on breaks, and I was nursing at the time. So at that time, my second husband would come down and I would be feeding her and then go back to work, you know? So it's been a really fun. I mean, my kids, they're not heavy handed. My son is very cautious when he tattoos. He doesn't want to hurt me. He doesn't want to mess up. So that he's in that focus realm. My daughter, she's like, give me your skin. I'm going to tattoo you. I'm like, you know? So she has no fear of that at all. But my number one rule with the kids is like, no matter what happens, don't drop my machine. Like, just don't drop my machine. So I always know you don't sit on the end of the tattoo chair. And my daughter was tattooing me one of the last times, and I did something and the end of my chair fell and I fell on my butt. And she was like, looked at me and goes, I didn't drop your machine, Mom. And I'm like, I'm like, you did what I said. So, but no, the heaviness, the heavy-handedness usually comes when you're not tattooing yourself yet. So that's, if someone's an apprentice, let's say, you know, when they start tattooing themselves, they get that depth and needle perception of when you're tattooing your legs or your thighs or your arm, and you understand that pain and what you feel. Or if you hit the bottom of your ink cup, what it feels like to barb a needle, you know? So that's, you know, they have to learn that. So heavy-handedness, it all just depends on the person. And I do permanent makeup as well, so I really can't be heavy-handed, especially doing eyeliner, eyebrows, lips, all that stuff. So it's I really focus on trying to be light-handed. So
you do lips too. Like I thought when I hear permanent makeup, I think I do think like eyeliner and like freckles maybe. But that's about it. Like eyebrows. I never knew that people did lips also. Is that just shading them? You're just shading in the color?
Like a lip liner, and then you can do a pigment filler. But I also do scarification cover-ups, and I do for healed mastectomy patients, I don't actually put this out into the world. It's more word of mouth, just because I didn't want it to be I guess misguided that this is what I do, look at me sort of attitude. But I also give, for healed mastectomy patients, I gift them areolas, because I think that it's absurd that the insurance companies charge for it, and it's an aesthetic procedure. I mean, they go in with them, but they don't leave with them. So I'm like, hey, I'll give them to you. You know, I'm like,
I love that. I think that's like a great thing, because it's nothing hard, and if you know how to do it, you're giving them something that's very simple to make them feel whole again, because they just went through a traumatic experience. Like, I love that you do that.
Well, and I think I could be in that position someday, you know, and it's just that feeling of you're missing that piece, you know, and it's amazing. And the way that the women light up after, they're like, we're 100% now. They just went through all that trial and error and everything else in between of having to just fight for their lives. And it's like, yeah, of course I'll do that for you. So if I can interject tattooing in a positive way, I will. It's not always, I guess, thought after as being like, everybody kind of looks at it as sometimes tattoo's a bad thing or this, that, and the other. But I mean, if I can find a way or an outlet to, hey, no, we can get back, then I will. in a
Do you have
heartbeat.
tattoos that you won't do?
Yes, good question.
Political tattoos, prison tattoos, anything that's really racially driven, I won't do. So, I mean, I'm not gonna interject myself into something like that if it's not obviously a belief that I believe in, and I don't really want to see a lot of also double names. I don't do that. So if a guy comes in and he has a name and the girl comes in and she wants the name, I won't do that. Like it's a curse, you know, and it's true. It really, it's not a good thing. So,
I definitely respect and understand that with the name thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like all walks of life that you come in here. I mean, I had a couple in here. It was funny. The wife demanded that they both get matching finger tattoos with each other's name, and the guy was very adamant about he didn't want to do it, but she was like, "We're doing this," and I'm like, "Uh-oh, there's more to the story that any of us knew." And so she got her tattoo and demands that he sits down to get his, and he ran outside. And he was like, "I'm not doing it." He's like, "I'm scared, and I don't know if they broke up or what, but I'm like, there's just a lot. Sometimes you have to intervene in a dramatic situation, and that itself, you can't force someone to get tattooed. Like that's not okay." So
I would have been like, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go get a extra fine Sharpie, and every morning, part of my routine, I'll just clean it up for you. Okay.
There you go.
That's what I'll do. So it's permanent. It's permanent Sharpie there. But it's not.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. People are just funny, you know, and it's like, if there's bigger problems than getting a name on your finger, obviously there's a bigger root issue of you can't trust the person. A name's not going to stop them from doing something. You know, I mean, and I end up being, I'm not a counselor. I'm not certified as a counselor, but I end up being a counselor. You know, you end up talking to people. They go through a lot of trauma. I also have not a lot, but I do get the cutters, you know, people that use the cut. And so I try to interject myself in a positive way of there's other outlets. You don't have to sit there and focus pain on yourself, you know, and tattooing seems to be interchangeable with that mindset of, okay, now I'm releasing that pain feeling. And so they come and get tattooed. And so there was a girl that she didn't want to stop cutting herself, and her mom and I sat down with her and we're like, look, we'll focus, and if you need to come to me, if I need to glove you up and you tattoo yourself, we're going to do that, but I don't want you to sit there and cut yourself. So she's doing great, and she's not cutting anymore, and it's just the positive things that you can interject into the world is what I think it's what it's about, you know. And it's the world is too gloomy and dark to sometimes even see that. It's just, if someone just helps you or hears you or can relate, that is so impactful sometimes. And it's just, you never know how you could change a person just by caring, you know.
Absolutely.
I love that. I read a book called Velvet Elvis back in the day, and it talked about how they used to drop makeup into like lower income third world countries, and it was for the women to be able to feel pretty, to give them confidence. And like in Africa and stuff, you doing this as a tattoo artist, putting makeup on permanently, do you notice a difference in people's energies / like emotions to their self-confidence by being able to give them that makeup, that tutorial, that cover for themselves that makes them feel whatever? Because I'm looking at your Facebook page in the background, and I saw how you do all the makeup stuff, and it made me think of the book right away, and how that little thing makes such a big difference in so many different people. So have you noticed that you're bringing that joy to people?
Well, yeah, and I would say a lot of the permanent makeup is, the ratio is probably about 70% are nurses or in the medical field. So they're on their feet all the time. They're constantly like, they're having to keep going and running. And so, I mean, they love the fact that they don't have to, if they wipe their eyes, their makeup's still there, you know? If they are running late, their makeup's still there, you know? I mean, if the base of your makeup, so with the permanent makeup, it's kind of a deceiving name because permanent, it's not permanent. So you have to refresh it every 1.5 to 2 years. So it's semi-permanent, but what I'm doing is I'm putting a guide to your face. So with your eyebrows, I'm putting the template. So if you would like to put a topical makeup over that template, you now have that same exact guide. And same with your eye makeup. If you want to glam it up some more, you put some eyeshadow on, you know, you dazzle it up a little bit, but you still have that base of, you have the tattoo, you can walk out into the world, you feel the confidence that you still wanted, and you're you. But I don't try to impede on the person's personal beauty. You know, I try to just enhance it. And that's where I don't want to have these huge Kardashian eyebrows. Because that was a trend for a while. And everyone's like, I want this. I'm like, yeah, but the template for those eyebrows don't match your face. So it's like everything's custom, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, and the freckle thing, you had mentioned the freckle thing. No, I wouldn't do those. Like those are trendy tattoos. And I saw
they never look real. They never look good.
Well, no, I mean, I have freckles, but I cover them. I don't mean to cover them up with makeup, but I do. But that's part of being a redhead, you know. But it's just kind of funny that people, my whole life growing up, it's like people will tease you with freckles and this and that and the other, and then it's a trend to get them. But I noticed some botched ones they did it with black ink, and then they end up with these green freckles, and it's just there's ways to fix it, but it's not the best thing to see, especially when a person's not certified in permanent makeup.
So what is the extent of the permanent makeup then, as far as like what is everything that you do? Like would you do like take like skin tones and do like a blush or something like that, or are you just outlining different things as you were saying?
Not so much a blush. It's more that would be more of a face tattoo itself. The permanent makeup would be like eyeliner, so top liner, bottom liner, eyebrows, the lips. You can add like a beauty mark if you want, like a Marilyn Monroe, like the dot. Scarification, cover up. So if a person has, there was a gentleman, he had mosquito bites all over his legs, but he was older and he tanned. So he had a lot of white scars all down his legs. And he wanted to go to the pool in the summertime to go pick up the ladies. And I'm like, you do you, Mr. 7-year-old man. That's cool. You know, but like, so I just covered up those scars for him, and it color matches the skin. So that way he no longer had that, oh my gosh, I have these scars, I'm embarrassed. He was confident, he was happy, and I'm like, you can never like not tan, because he was very tan at that point. So if he went any lighter, what I did. So I'm like, you just maintain that tan and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but, he just had the reverse effect then. Instead of having these white marks, he'd have all these little orange dots all over him.
Yeah, it'd be super cute. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but it gave him that confidence so he could go pick up the ladies at the YMCA and go have some fun with them. So right now, where the shop is located is I'm in a senior community. So it's Youngtown, which was actually the first retirement community in all the United States. It was founded in 1956. We're encompassed by Sun City. So it's just nothing but elderly here, you know? So I have to really be able to acclimate to everybody when they come into me, and there's specific needs. I have a lady that comes to me just to change her earrings because she can't see the earring hole. You know, I mean, she's just a sweet little old lady, you know, but it's like you have the other side of the realm too. You have the young kids that come in and want to get these huge neck tattoos and blast their hands, and you're like, you're 18 years old, and I will discourage them. I will, like, there was a girl, she wanted this huge like Pikachu tattoo like right here, and she was like 19, and she tells me she's going to be a teacher. And even though she was 19, I knew that was probably not the best choice for her. And I'm like, what are you going to do with your life? I'm going to be a teacher. My boyfriend's a cop. I'm like, okay, so you're probably going to be going to like formal balls, stuff like that. You're going to be dressed up, dinner parties. I'm like, that's not a good spot for that tattoo. And she was very like just combative, and I get it. She was an adult, but I'm like, hey, call your mom. I was like, if your mom agrees, I'm like, I'm a mom. I'm like, I'd be really upset if my kid came home with that. I'm like, call your mom, ask her what she says. And so she did. She was a pretty girl. I didn't want this to hinder her future. So she calls her mom, and mom's like, no, you're not getting that tattoo there. And so she ended up getting it on her shoulder. The next day, the mom comes in, and she's like, hey, are you Kate? And I'm like, oh God, what did I do? You know? And so she gave me a big old hug, and she's like, you just saved her future. And I appreciate that, you know? And I can, like I said, interject myself in a way to where I can be a positive instead of a negative, but I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with tattooing, I have gone many places. I have a tattoo artist I've used for multiple tattoos. Like most people keep to their regulars and stuff. I have dozens of tattoos, and I'm a big fan of it. It's a therapy, I've said. Have you noticed that it's picked up the trend over the last few years? It seems like more and more people are getting them, and they're being understanding of them. I say that as someone who came from the church as a youth pastor. So my first tattoo is a cross, and it's so small, but like everybody, all the churches were like, everywhere I went as a youth pastor, like, you're going to hell for that. I'm like, first off, no. Second off, no. So, like me, I like tattoos. I break away from the world. I get like one a year, and if I don't get a tattoo, I get like a piercing and stuff. Have you
Right.
noticed people are picking that up more and really getting into the tattoos and having meaning behind them? And I'm not insulting this girl, other than just a big Pikachu on their shoulder. Like they're actually getting something that's memorable and that they can tell a story about.
I think that all tattoos in general have that effect. I mean, you're putting a time capsule on your life at that moment, the second that you get a tattoo. So you remember where you were, your headspace, what was going on in your life. So I think every tattoo kind of tells a story in general, you know, but I would say it's becoming more acceptable for sure. And I have tattooed pastors as well. And I would joke with them, but when I would tattoo them, I would do pieces on them and he would speak of sermons just off those tattoos. And so that's where he was like, I like to tie it all in because people are so focused on the negative, so focused on judging that he's like, we're all, you know, it's like we're decorating our temples. And when people start talking to me about, you know, the aspects of, oh, if there's this a sin, is this, well, I joke with, I'm like, hey, I'm an ordained minister. I was like, we're good, you know? But I mean, I have pastors that bring their kids to me to have me tattoo them only because they understand that I'm not going to sit there and judge. I'm not going to sit there, you know, I'm a non-denominational. So it's just, I'm open to everybody expressing themselves, but I won't, I mean, there's certain trends that people are definitely more focused on right now. It's more line work. So a lot of people are focused on just simplicity, line work. And, but you have people that come in and they're traveling and they just want to get a state tattoo, you know, or they're coming in with all their besties and they all want to get a little tiny matching tattoo. And that's cool. I mean, it puts that, you know, that pin on their life of, hey, this is where I was at that time. And usually by the time their tattoo's ending, they're like, hey, let's schedule I want to get another one, you know, so they're just excited and focused on what's going to come, you know, but tattoos I think they're going to be forever, obviously. I mean, they're not going anywhere, but we had limitations when I first moved out here in Arizona in 2009. You were not allowed to tattoo hands. You weren't allowed to tattoo necks. So that was a stipulation. And now it's kind of free for all, you know, I mean, everybody, you can do whatever you want, but the biggest thing is if somebody's going to say, hey, that's probably not going to be best for your future, where I'm going to sit there and do that only because I have the morals behind it of I don't want to impede on anything that's going to possibly not allow you to make money or not allow you to focus or not allow you to get that job that you really wanted. I mean, if you've like the Grim Reaper right here and you're trying to go get, you know, a job at a kid's thing, I mean, it probably won't work out well, but I don't want that to fall back in a way where I didn't counsel them prior to that point.
I don't even mean to laugh, but I am thinking that would be quite. Could you imagine that person as a teacher? They have a huge Grim Reaper on their neck, and they're like your kid's kindergarten teacher. I'd be like, my kid is going to be an angel. Like they're going to be so scared of that guy or that teacher. Like,
I mean, and I tattoo teachers as well, and like they're super colorful and they love it. And like I said, it's becoming more acceptable in the society, which is amazing. But I've had the opposite side of the realm too. I've actually had a lady walk into a poll looking at my tattoos in disgust. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, even though she got hurt, I'm like, are you okay? You know, and it's like, I don't understand. I guess, you know, there is age barriers with that. Women were not supposed to get tattoos way back when, you know, women weren't supposed to, it was looked at as sailors and people in jail. And I get it, you know, but times are different, you know, and everything has that progression. And so I think we're in that point where it's more than acceptable now. And it's almost weird and an oddity to see somebody without a tattoo. And I call them unicorns. I think they're awesome. I'm like, dude, if you have the free will to do what you want and you didn't get that peer pressured into, I have to get a tattoo to be part of the crowd, go, good for you. You know, seriously, good for you. I think that's rad. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, you need a tattoo. You know, that's a person's opinion and their choice. So
I think one of the coolest tattoos I've ever seen, which actually was on a teacher. This young man had he always wore like long sleeves while he was teaching, but during recess he taught elementary, and he would pull his sleeves up and he had all these tattoos that were only outlines. And the reason why he did that is so that way the kids could use non-toxic markers and color in his tattoos to whatever they wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. So they just used him like a coloring book, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so like during the day, like he'd have his sleeves rolled down, and then recess he'd roll them up, and the kids could color and stuff. And then the rest of the day, he'd have his sleeves rolled up so they could see their artwork.
There you go. I tell that with people when they're indecisive. I'm like, just keep the outline. I'm like, when you get bored, just color it in when you want, or make it seasonal. You know?
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this: with doing tattoos, you've been doing this since 2009. You said?
No. I moved to Arizona in 2009, so I've actually been doing this over 12 years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And you have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Almost 16-year-old, yes, and a 10-year-old. Yep.
You don't look old enough to have either of those, just so you know. So don't thank me, thank you. You're the one that kept yourself looking good. So for this, like for tattoos, all right. So I told you I have a full sleeve, and it was a cover up, and it's the Ninja Turtles, and I would show you it all, but then I'm going to have to take my hoodie off, and then I'm going to have to explain all my tattoos because people are going to see like the Bible verses on my back and stuff like that. But tattoo cover-ups are a big thing too, because like you were saying, sometimes people come in and they get something and they're like, eh. But do you notice people doing more cover-ups or people starting to remove the tattoo? Because I know both. I have people in both sides of my life. I covered up the shittiest part of my life, my ex-wife and I's tattoo, as I turn here, and put it under the sewer grate and let the turtles come out so I have childlike faith. But
I love that.
Thank you. But like a lot of people, they'll get a tattoo and then later in life, like, I don't know why I did that, and they'll get it removed. And the removal process is a lot more painful, a lot more expensive. So it's better to have someone like you that's like, look, I don't want to see you mess up your future. You're caring about them. Have you noticed that be a thing as well, where people are getting more cover-ups to more removals?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that will come to, I like doing cover-ups. I think they're fun. I like breathing new life into the tattoo that they were so embarrassed to show. That to me, I love when they're smiling. They're like, I can actually show my arm again, or I can show this again. And they're just super stoked to be in their own skin again. And that's what I think that matters, you know. But I totally drew a blank right now. It is
You're good.
Tattoos. Just tell us anything about a tattoo.
It's fun. I mean, it's a lot of people when they come to me with the tattoo, they'll tell me, I had a lady last week, I have to get this removed. That's what I told. I went to 3 different shops. I have to get this laser removed first in order for them to cover it up. I'm like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, I can do this and this. And are you sure? Yeah. She walked out of here super happy and booked another appointment, you know? So I have a lot of people that are a cover up of a cover up, you know, and it's like, oh, you can see the name through the cover up that they did and this, that, and the other. And yeah, I can cover that. Yeah, it's a lot of color packing usually to cover it, but you're going to cover it. And that's where I'll say, hey, I offer a number, so they're not sitting there squirming the whole time in pain and having to endure what they've already done 2 or 3 times prior, you know. And cover-ups are fun. I mean, like I said, you're giving them that opportunity back to be happy in their skin again. They get to show it off again, and they get to start all over again with the piece that they did not like, you know. So I love cover-ups. I think they're great.
I am curious, do you know how many layers of skin the ink penetrates?
You stay in the top epidermis layers. You don't want to go past the sublingual layers. You're getting into the tissue, and that's where you blow out lines. So you stay on those top layers of the skin, and you have to focus too. So if you're on a bony area and you overstretch the skin or anything like that, you can rip the skin. I mean, that's a possibility. You're putting a tiny little knife to the skin, you know, so you have to be very gentle and careful with every tattoo that you do. Yeah. So.
Have you had any tattoos where you were in the middle of doing it and you had to kick the person out? I ask every one of my tattoo people.
I was just thinking that, like, if somebody was like squirming too much or just got ridiculous with profanity or whatever the issue may be.
And then I actually have a second part to that question, but go ahead. I'll write it down so I don't. Well, I was going to ask, do you do piercings? Because do you ever actually have somebody like you're tattooing a couple and the guy's just a douche the whole time? So you make sure you like pierce him a little harder or tattoo him in like a weird way, like, oh, that's the wrong angle. Yeah, you're gonna like that later. Like, do you ever?
Be vindictive with it. No, I did actually have a guy that was sitting there degrading his girlfriend, and I kicked him out, and he was combative with me, but he was just saying the rudest things to her. And after I kicked him out, I'm like, he's not allowed back in my shop. I was like, and you probably should find a new boyfriend just because of how he's treating you. It's not going to get better. So she was it's just like in shock that I did that. But I'm like, no, I'm not to say that, but someone had to put him in his place. You can't just sit there and just downgrade a woman and talk to her like she's nothing. And that wasn't cool. I've had people demand that I do certain tattoos that I'm like, no, we have to schedule for that, or there's not enough time frame that I have right now in my schedule to accommodate your request for the tattoo. And they would get mad. I've kicked out 2 people in the past 4.5 years that I've had this shop. So I try to be as nice as I possibly can, and I try to fix whatever situation, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And then, I got to be the bad guy, but it is what it is. It's part of it.
You'd think people would be more, because in a sense, it's like a surgery. Like getting a tattoo, especially when you're getting a big piece, that's why I always think of it as a surgery, because not only does it take a while to get done, you do have to schedule, you have to plan it, because it is supposed to be a semi, if not completely permanent part of your body. And then there's a healing process afterward. Like you'd think people would be a little more patient with it.
Well, and that's where I use Sanoderm. So as long as they're not allergic to adhesive, it's a sticky, it almost looks like saran wrap, but it sticks to your skin.
Yes, that's what I use.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Or my artist uses it.
Yeah, because some people, once they leave your tattoo studio, you have no idea what they're going to do. And that's the biggest problem, because it's the healing. So you take your pictures of the actor after you do the tattoo, and then it's like, well, how are you going to heal it? And you go down your whole, this is what you need to do, but sometimes they don't listen. So the Sanoderm is great, because once they get out of here and they want to go party or whatever, I'm not worried about them rubbing their arm against the bathroom stall at the bar that they're drinking at and possibly contracting something, because it's gross. It is an open wound. I say the same thing. Treat it like you just had surgery. Treat it like you have stitches, pretend like you care about the new thing that you just got added to your skin, because it is a fresh wound. It needs to stay clean. And, sometimes people just they want to touch it and they want to do it. And it's like, stop.
Why? Why?
It's gross. Like it grosses.
I know people who they'll get a tattoo and the next day, and they won't wrap it at all. They just let it go out and air dry and all that stuff, and touch their clothing and everything. Like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? Like, treat it like it's the most severe sunburn you ever had. Like, you need to give it some love, give it time, let it heal properly. Like, oh, but it looks great. I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to unless you hydrate it and keep it covered a little bit, and then let it breathe later down the line.
Well, and I've learned certain products, they either help the healing process or they make it worse, and they'll pull color. Anything with petroleum based, they used to always say A&D, and A&D is petroleum based, and it's not good for your tattoos. So I the only thing that I will say that I want you to use is organic coconut oil. So that's the stuff that you cook with. I love that stuff. There's nothing that isn't natural in that it's a coconut. It's like, that's it. And that going on your skin, it prevents, it helps, and has a barrier that it helps heal. It has antibacterial, antimicrobials in it already as a presence of the coconut. So it helps the tattoo. And not only that, but when you put it a little bit on before you get in the shower, as you're still healing, it helps to bead the water off, so it's not going to absorb into your tattoo. Yeah. And it's great. And I had a lady that she did skin and everything else, and she kind of turned me on to that. And that was something that it's like you learn stuff over the years, and but the coconut oil is kind of like the holy grail for me for tattoo healing. So
that is one that I've yet to try. I'm actually getting my next tattoo on the 28th. So next Wednesday, I will be getting a new tattoo.
Go to any store, and it's just get like a little tiny jar of organic coconut oil. It doesn't have to be name brand. It doesn't have to be anything, just the smallest jar, and it'll work great. I've just put a little thin layer on when you feel that your skin is getting tight, and then
definitely. Yeah, he uses the special wrap as well. But once I end up taking that off, then I'll probably put some coconut oil on it afterward and see how I like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's fun. It works better, I think. My second choice would be probably Aquaphor if I'm going to suggest something.
That's what I usually use is Aquaphor.
Yeah. So I know what you're talking about though. With people sometimes don't want to put stuff on there. Some tattoos I've had to dry heal myself. It's just my body it doesn't absorb the aftercare correctly sometimes. So dry healing sometimes has to be the option, which is very painful to have to do that. But
yeah, you move and it cracks and it.
I remember my elbow was pretty gnarly when I got that done. So it was almost dry healing the whole thing. It was 2 weeks swollen, that was not a fun one on there. So
no bueno.
No bueno. Under my arm, I have Donatello right here, and it goes
that's
all the way
lovely.
into the armpit. And oh my god, did that hurt? Like hurt. Like the guy was like you guys. He laughed at me because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna go into my own place. I have my arm out like this, and I'm
Right?
just like zoned out. And then all of a sudden, he's going up there and he goes, "Does it hurt yet?" I'm like, "Why do you have to ask? Like, don't ask me questions now." I'm like, "Do you want me to slap you?" And he's like, "Brandon, you're gonna be fine." I'm like, you say this, I say I'm in pain right this second. Let me just zone out.
I scared the hell out of my tattoo artist, Nick. Yeah, when he was doing my foot, Nick De Niro is my artist. He hit like right in between the pinky toe and like the little ring toe. He hit right in the webbing and hit a nerve. And just like instinctually, I threw my fist down all on the table. And, like he backed up. He thought I was gonna hit him. Like, there's a couple times during that foot tattoo. There's like because he kept hitting nerves.
You channeled the Hulk on that one. You were like,
I did. Well, like I said, I'm usually so calm and relaxed. Like he'll do like 7 hours. I'll take a nap. I'll relax. So like the first or the last 5 minutes or the last maybe like hour or so, I start making like little noises and like little twitches here and there. I was mother effering him for like the first 5 minutes of this foot tattoo.
Oh, I'm sure. No, I have customers that do the same thing. They're like, I love you, but I fucking hate you right now. And I'm like, hey, it is what it is. I'm like, you pay for
it is what it is.
I'm like, just sit there and we'll get through it.
Yeah, I got the other people laughing at me.
I picture her.
There's a question mark in mine right there. So I'm just like,
Would you do a finger tattoo?
That's cute.
Like I see you have them, but would you do them? I have a lot of tattoo artists that say no.
I do them, but I also put Stanoderm on them. So like with my knuckles, so it says boss lady.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
Stanoderm, yeah. It really helps to keep the ink in the skin. I have red, white, and blue still in there, and that's been there for about 4 years. So
nice.
The tattoos on the hand, I mean, you really have to know what the person's doing for job security reasons. It's like, what are you doing with your life? So that way you can get your hands tattooed, because sometimes people, like I tattooed the top of a lady's hand and she ended up losing her job. And I'm like, I am so sorry, because I even checked, hey, does your job allow this? And they did not. And she did it anyway, thinking she was going to get away with it. And they refused to allow her to work there. And it's like stuff like that I don't want to happen. I mean, that's detrimental to your life, your income, everything else. And so people sometimes just are in this, like, I just want to get it. It looks cool, but it's like the long term on that is, what's it going to bring to your life? Is it going to be a positive or a negative? So
Correct.
It is what it is. But we had talked about one of my favorite tattoos, and one of the ones that I've done that was probably one of my favorite. It's on my Instagram, but I love like the more morbid styles of stuff. I don't get a lot of that being kind of where I'm located, but there's a Ariel piece. It's the Little Mermaid, and she's like super morbid, but it was a whole rib piece, so it was from under the armpit all the way down. And that was probably one of my favorite pieces over the years that I've done them. I like stuff like that. So but I mean, I love everything that I do. I mean, like all artists will say, they usually don't like tribal. Not a fan. It's pretty like mentally just mind numbing. You're just filling in black, So that's the only reason why we don't like tribal. But other than that, I love everything that comes to me. I love challenges too. I love when somebody has like 25 ideas and they're like, make it all into one. And you're like, all right, so it's fun. And it's always challenging. It's different every time you deal with a different customer. So
definitely. I got
what is your no, I got to get this in because she'll answer quick. What is your IG?
What is my what?
Your Instagram.
Oh, my Instagram. It's Fresh Banana Ink. It's all one word. Fresh Banana Ink. Yeah.
I'm gonna go follow.
Too bad, I already did it.
Woo-hoo.
So am I not allowed to now? Is that what you're telling me?
It was a race and I won. So while Gavin does that, Kate, one thing we do here, I just followed you. It's Delight Cafe CBD, because we believe in finding your calm, balance, and delight when you need it most in life. That's why we start the morning with positivity. We have people like you on that come on and say, hey guys, here's what I'm doing. I love to be out there and helping people. I love that you turn around, and there's so many people that do tattoos that once they're doing them, the tattoo artist doesn't care who the person is. And you're sitting here going, no, this is the opposite. I want you to not lose your job. I want you to be here. I want you to do your best you. I'm going to ask Gavin to ask his last question, and then we're going to go into our final goodbyes. Yeah,
Right.
Go ahead, buddy.
So for anybody who wants to get a tattoo that is yet to get one and they are nervous about it, I know they have people have the different numbing creams and stuff like that to help it. What is the first spot that you would recommend getting a tattoo?
Good question.
Probably somewhere on their arm or somewhere where they can hide it, honestly, because if they don't like the tattoo itself or they don't like the experience, at least they're able to cover it up, and it's not something that they're going to be focused on or think that the whole rest of society is focusing on that one piece. I would definitely say a covered piece that they're able to cover up.
Love that. Great answer.
I love it. All right. So end of the show, we do a positive affirmation, and I will go first, and then Gavin will go, and then you go, so you don't have to feel the pressure. But it's a way to get everybody a chance to get through their day, something to give them that extra push and keep them going. I mean, it is Wednesday, so it is hump day. Everybody get out there, hump something good, and make sure you have a good day. So for me, I'm going to end it with this. Today's might be hump day. Today might be hemp day. End of the day, take today, look around you, look in the mirror, and look yourself straight in the eyes and tell yourself you love you. Give yourself a verbal hug, because the truth is we've all been missing physical hugs. Do yourself that favor and love yourself today, because if you can't do that, you're never going to be able to give love to everybody else. Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, I also would like people to do themselves a favor today. And if you're unsure about something, whether it is getting a tattoo or changing a job, career, or whatever it may be, if you want to do something in your life that can be semi or 100% permanent and you're unsure about it, do yourself a favor and do some research. Don't assume that you know everything about it. Ask people who have had it, who have done the same thing or thought about it, and see what their opinions are about it. Whether you decide to go through it or not, that could definitely help your decision, because you don't want to be in a position where you do something like get a hand tattoo and lose your job, or you decide to move from one state to another on just a drop of a dime, and then you don't have anything lined up and you're homeless all of a sudden. Do a little bit of research, try to prep yourself, and just know that it is perfectly okay to not have all the answers.
That's a good one. I like that, for sure. I would definitely say, since it is Wednesday, it's Women Crush Wednesday, I'm going to go with that one instead. Call your mom. Make sure you call your mom, because I'm a mom and you want to stay connected to your mom. Tell her you love her, or let anybody know that, how much you care about them, and life's too short, just be happy, smile. Give someone a compliment that you don't know. See if someone, hey, that looks like a great shirt, that could be the only interaction they have all day long. Why not?
I love that. Everybody take a picture with your mom today, giving your mom love, and do us a favor and tag Banana Tattoo Inc. and Delight Cafe CBD, so that way the two of us can reshare it and show the love and positivity. I love it. And she does the rocker thing all the time. I love it. She and I were like messaging on Messenger, and I asked a question and she went back like this, and I was like, yes! I'm like, she is awesome. So Kate, I look forward to talking to you more. Brian, Tracy, and I already know we're going to be talking with you a little bit more later. I think this week or next week. I don't remember. My schedule is all over right now. But I truly loved this. When I'm on the West Coast, I literally want to now swing by and just get a tattoo by you. Like, just to sit down and have a fun conversation. So when I'll be out there, I'll schedule, so you don't have to worry about me just walking in and you wanting to beat me up.
That sounds awesome. Oh, come on. We'll fight. It's fine.
We'll fight? I'll warn you, I'm one of the best wrestlers. I'll throw you around. I'm ready.
As you have your hand behind your hat, and you're like,
I love it. I love it.
No, I'll definitely touch base with you guys for sure. And it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And everyone, go bananas.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. We'll talk to you guys all again tomorrow. Kate, thank you once again.
You're welcome, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.